Hi everyone, I'm Rainey Bastarash with Elite Thought TV, and I'd like to welcome you all here tonight. And before we get started, I want to tell you a little joke I heard earlier tonight. There was a door-to-door salesman going around town, and he actually went up to this one house and he rang the doorbell. The door opened, and behind the door was an 8-year-old boy holding a beer in one hand and a smoldering cigar in the other. Salesman looked at him, took him a few moments to gain his posture, and he looks at the boy and he says, "Hello, young man, is your mama home?" The young man looks at him in a kind of strange way and says, "What do you think?" Okay. Tonight's talk is about increasing your sales. And of course, when I heard this nice door-to-door salesman story, I thought it would be a great way to get started. Now, before we start, though, I want to tell you about a little contest we're having tonight. This is for the live viewers, only the live people watching. Okay, we're going to have a secret code word that I'm going to say between 7:10 and 7:20, so about 10 minutes from now. And I'm just going to say this is the secret code word, and anyone who hears the code word and emails us at admin@choosehypnosis.com, that's the email on the bottom of any of our web pages, admin@choosehypnosis.com, is going to be put into a drawing for a winner. And we'll say who the winner is at the end of the program. So that's going to be between 7:10 and 7:20. Now, a lot of people know that, and they're going to be coming in just for that. So be sure that you get your fingers ready to type. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, what I want to talk to you about is we're going to start out by talking about some of the greatest advertising mistakes that people make. Because as a result of tonight's talk, you're going to learn how to get twice as many people interested in your product or service. But what's one of the greatest mistakes that people make? Maybe you've done this yourself. A lot of people will spend a lot of time on their web page and in their advertisements, in their brochures, talking about their many years of expertise, the training, the education. They did so much to prepare for the job that they want to let everybody know about it. Big mistake. Another one is they come right in talking about how great their product is. It's the best thing since buttered bread, and they go on and on and on just talking about how great their product is. And another one is how much research and money went into the creation of their product. All the different things they did, all the bells and whistles. Those are three, I guess you could say, primary no-nos having to do with sales. People don't care about what you did, where you went, how much time and effort went into your product. What they care about is what benefit is in it for them. That's right, everyone's favorite subject is themselves, and what everybody wants is to help themselves. They're coming onto your page to see your web page, looking at your advertising, to see how you can help them. So if you make one of those vital mistakes, you're going to be losing about 50% of your audience within the first few seconds. Think of that. 50% of your audience, especially if you're paying a lot in advertisement to get these people, that's a lot of money that's not on the table. Okay, it's a lot of money, a lot of people you're not going to get a chance to see. So, there's a gentleman I was reading about tonight, actually I have it right here on Wikipedia, a gentleman named Heidelman Julius, okay, and we're going to talk a little bit about him. He was born in the late 1800s, and right around 1920s, 1930s, he wrote a lot of short books, very short books. Actually, they were known as, I believe they called them the Little Blue Books at that time. And these Little Blue Books, he sold in the hundreds of millions of these books. Hundreds of millions, think of that. Now, again, back then, they only sold for 5 cents each. But, you know, I'm looking at even 200 million, that's $10 million he made. That was pretty good way back then. Now, what he did was, the only thing he advertised was the titles of his book. He didn't put in a description or anything. He put in the titles and watched how it sold. If it didn't sell, he actually changed the title. That's all he changed, and he kept track of it. Here's an example of a couple of his books. One of them was called Fleece of Gold. Okay, kind of makes you wonder what it's about. Fleece of Gold. He sold 5,000 copies in the first year. Then he changed it to Quest for a Blonde Mistress. and he sold 50,000 copies. So you can see from 5,000 to 50,000, 10 times more, just by making a more attractive title. Now he made it according to the, I guess you could say the primary human needs that we're going to be talking about in just a few moments. The 8 primary human needs, the primary things you want to catch people on if you want to make big sales. So it gives you an idea of what we're going to be getting into. Another book he did, he called it The Art of Controversy. How many of you think he sold with that? The Art of Controversy. Does that sound interesting? Actually, he didn't sell any. Then he changed the title, didn't touch the book at all, just changed the title to How to Argue Logically. And he sold 30,000 copies. So you can see the difference. A title makes a big difference in what you're going to be doing. Okay, so the title, or basically what are you going for? What are you trying to interest, or how are you trying to interest a client? Okay, the more that you can go according to these 8 points we're going to go through right now, the better you're going to have a chance of getting your client and grasping them right in the first few seconds. Okay, so of the 8 primary human needs, okay, the first one is life extension. Take notes on this, okay? I don't care what your business is. If you can use some of these ideas and incorporate them in your business, you're going to increase your sales drastically. Okay, life extension, think of that. The fountain of youth. Everyone's talking about the fountain of youth. In hypnosis, we talk about in the delta brainwave state, you reach a state where they call, where the human growth hormone is naturally released. They call it HGH. Matter of fact, I wrote about this a couple years ago, and I've had even doctors in different parts of the country, calling me and asking me, "Oh, tell me more about this human growth hormone." Okay, but once you get into the delta brainwave state, it's automatically released. Okay, so people that sleep deeply, you're going to notice don't wrinkle as easily. They look a lot younger. Their skin looks healthier. They have more vitality because they're going through that state. So people love to hear this kind of thing. Let's look at society. How big is cosmetic surgeries, facelifts? Hollywood, I think there's nobody that hasn't had one, okay? Makeup, concealer, foundation. It sounds like something you're building a business with. A contractor would use foundation, right? But women are buying all these different makeups and all these different things to try to look younger, to look more appealing. So that's one of the primary human needs is life extension, to look younger and to live longer, okay? Food supplements. So many beauty and health magazines focus on those kind of things. Vitamins, all these kind of things. Now, if you can use something having to do with life extension in your advertising, you're going to get people to look at it a lot more, because that's actually the first of the primary needs. If you don't have something you can specifically say about one of these 8 things, you can possibly even use what they call the rhetorical question. This is one of my favorite things. You'll see them on my hypnosis website. It'll ask questions, about hypnosis, but rhetorical questions that get you thinking. Now, rhetorical question can be something, well, with this one here, I might say something like, would you like to live 20 years longer? What does that make you think? Wow, 20 years longer? Of course I would. Now, I'm not saying I have something that's going to make you live 20 years longer, but it's something to catch your attention, to grab your attention, Would you like to live to 105 years old? Now, I'm not going to put that in one of my advertisements because people are going to probably want me to prove it. But that's a rhetorical question, okay? Let's talk about number 2. Enjoyment of food and drink, okay? So people like to enjoy. They like to relax, enjoy food, enjoy drink. And proof of that is look on any street corner in the city. Okay, there's restaurants everywhere. Some places you'll see 5 or 6 of the same kind of restaurant right beside each other. Okay, because people want to get as much as they can. They want to get the best that they can. They're looking for the best restaurants, the best food, the best product. In our case, our favorite coffee, okay, there's Starbucks, there's Dunkin' Donuts, there's all different kind of places. So we want the best food and the best drink. Rhetorical question having to do with that. Are you looking for the best steak you've ever had? Now, if you're a steak eater and you see that in an advertisement, you're going to look twice to see what it's about, okay? Number 3, freedom from pain, fear, discomfort, and danger, okay? People want to be safe. They want to feel good. They want to be comfortable. They want to be safe, okay? So any product that will help you with these kind of things to ensure someone's safety, to ensure they're feeling good, is a surefire winner as well. Let's see. What kind of things can help pharmaceutical companies? Okay, they're great with telling you all these things having to do with, with releasing pain, okay, pain and discomfort. That's probably one of the reasons they do so well in that area. But isn't it time you had permanent relief? Now, see, that's a good rhetorical question. It could probably cover a lot of different relief from what, but it's going to catch someone's attention. Now, rhetorical questions is just something I like to use. So I'm giving you an example. You don't have to use them, but think of how you can have your product tailored around one of these. If you do hypnosis, okay, there's a lot of different hypnosis scripts you can do for pain, fear, discomfort, feeling safe, there's a lot of different things that you can do with that area. Selling CDs, selling MP3s, even advertising them for your live sessions, if that's what you're doing. Number 4, companionship. Companionship such as family, relationships, friends. Companionship is very important to everyone. Now, just look for proof. Just look on television and the newspaper. You're going to find tons of dating sites. You're going to find the Travel Channel has all these romantic giveaways, romantic getaways. Okay, chat lines. Look at all the chat lines online. Look at the social media like Facebook and Twitter. OMG, LOL, they're everywhere, okay? People like the companionship. They like to have the relationships and the, all the different networks. So that's very important. So, what's a rhetorical question I would use if I had something in that area? Would you like to find the perfect companion? Again, rhetorical question. Is there such a thing as a perfect companion? Well, if someone's looking for that, that's the kind of thing that will catch their attention, and maybe they'll read the second line of your ad copy. So grab their attention with something that would benefit them, not something about your product and your business, but grab the attention of the client that's coming to see you. So whatever your product is, what can you make as a rhetorical question that would maybe answer their needs? And put that right at the top of your page, because the first few seconds somebody looks at a web page, and the first few seconds they look at any kind of advertisement is critical. I think they said the average person spends maybe 3 seconds to scan something over before he decides whether he's going to throw it away or read a little further. Okay. So let's see, where were we? That was companionship. Number 5, comfort, living conditions. Okay, that's very important. People want comfort. So let's see. People are always looking for when they want to buy a house, they're looking for the nicest house. You ever seen anybody trying to find the dumpiest, most broken down house? No, they want nice living conditions. They want the nicest cars. They're looking for the best they can get for their money. They want comfortable furniture. All the modern conveniences of life, such as remote control TV, remote microwave, remote control air conditioners, remote control children. Well, maybe not children, but as an idea, work on it. iPhones. They even have computerized smart houses. Okay, you ever heard of that? Go online, punch in smart houses. It'll just blow your mind at what this house will do. If any of you have ever seen the sci-fi show Eureka, you'll see a whole smart town. Everything is computerized, okay? So people are very much into the conveniences of of life. So what would a rhetorical question be for that? Would you like to have all the comforts of life right from your recliner or right at the push of a button? Whatever it is you're trying to sell, okay? You could even, if you're doing hypnosis again, maybe make some kind of a vacation script where they're sitting in a recliner enjoying all the conveniences because they have a magical remote control. I know when we do forensic hypnosis, we have that magical remote control that could stop, fast forward, pan, take the fuzzies out. If you've gotten here's a plug, a shameless plug, our free hypnosis manual, okay, you'll see in the, basically I think it's the healing section, stress section at the end of it, you'll see all about the remote control method for regression. Let's see. So the comfortable living conditions. Number 6 would be keeping up with the Joneses. Okay, being a winner, ahead of the pack. And by the way, the secret keyword is motivation. So number 6, keeping up with the Joneses, winner, ahead of the pack. You'll find in different neighborhoods, okay? You know how different neighborhoods, you have your middle class, your lower class, your high class neighborhoods. It's funny how I found that when you're looking at people in these neighborhoods, most of the people in these certain neighborhoods make within 20% of the income of their peers and of their neighbors. They kind of like to stay in the same groups. They have similar houses, and you'll see a lot of these neighborhoods, almost every house is the same, but very similar houses, similar cars in their driveway. They have similar hobbies, sports. There's so many things that are the same, okay? So, because everyone wants to be like everyone else or ahead of everyone else. Nobody wants to be left behind, okay? So, anything you can advertise to let people know, don't be left behind. Make the same decisions that thousands of other successful entrepreneurs have already made. Call now. You want to call me, don't you? I could hear my phone going already. Okay, so I put it on mute, but it's vibrating. Not to be confused with the earthquake we had last week. That's the phone vibrating. Okay, so how can you get people to keep up with the Joneses? And you see a lot of advertisements like that. Thousands of others have done it. Call now while there's still, while it's still convenient, while other people are doing it. There's only 3 positions left. So what can help you to get people to want to stay with everyone else? Number 7, protection. Okay, protection of yourself, of loved ones. Now think of it, protection. There are so many places selling security systems, guard dogs, police and security patrols. A lot of these houses are patrolled by private security firms. Let's not even get into all the weapons and protection, personal protection like that. Houses have locks, cars have locks, there's padlocks, there's bike locks, there's locker locks at school. They even have locks for pocketbooks. I'm sorry, I think that's kind of silly. There's a pocketbook sitting on a park bench, nobody's around, but it's locked. No one's going to steal that. Okay. But yes, I think this is a little overboard, but there's locks for almost anything. Okay. Even computers. Okay. Every time I turn on my computer, I haven't found how to disable it yet, but there's a password I got to put in. I'm the only one in my office, so who's going to come into my, nobody comes in and plays with my computer, everybody else has their own, okay? But you have all the passcodes for that. There's all the virus protection. There's so many different things, and all sold through protection. I know we just got a couple of new computers, Raluca and I, and you know how they give you the antivirus. I think it goes for like probably 30 days, and for the last 10 days, 9 days left, protect it. 8 days left, and they just put this huge fear into you that you're not going to be protected. And of course, that just plays in the back of your mind as one of the major motivations for people. And I think it was 2 days before I went ahead and bought it right online. I got to be safe. So protection of self, loved ones, and even your merchandise is very important. Number 8, approval. Fitting into society. Now this is kind of interesting. Fitting into society. This is something that, if you have children, you see this right from when they're very little. And you went through it also, okay? When they're growing up and they first go off to school, okay? Or first even before school, you're trying to prepare them as a parent to be able to fit into society. Then they go to school and they see all these other kids playing and having fun, and they want to join in. So they're going to do whatever they have to do and conform their behavior to be accepted, to fit into this small group. Then, of course, they get older and they go into high school, same thing. They have all the different cliques, the jocks and the cheerleaders and the goth and all these different people, and everyone wants to belong to something. Sometimes, a lot of times, you don't belong to the group that you'd like to belong to, but there's groups. They want to fit in. Nobody wants to be the one everyone points at that's left out of the group. Then after school, most people either go to work, go to college, go into the service, and the same thing, everyone wants to fit in. Now, I run into this a lot in my job, okay? Not only do we do a lot with hypnosis and how the mind works, but we do a lot with marketing. You've probably seen a lot of my talks happen to be in marketing because I have a marketing background, and I like to show how people can use marketing with hypnosis. In other words, suggestibility in marketing. But one of the things back in my marketing days, just like a lot of other managers, I spent week after week out in hotels hiring people, interviewing people. I'd interview, you have a stack of, of resumes about this thick, okay, and you'd be interviewing people trying to find that best salesman, okay? So you spend all day long, sometimes all weekend, interviewing and interviewing and interviewing. Then you find the super salesman. That's why you hired them. They're the best salesperson already. You don't have to train them. They already know about it. So you're so excited. You teach them the job, they get out to work, they make all kinds of sales, they just burn the streets with all these sales, and within about a week or two, the excitement's gone. Their sales dropped right down to the level of everyone else in the office. The manager's going, what happened? He was so good. Here's the mistake that these managers make is then they'll take the person and they'll send them to motivational training or sales training or management training, thinking that the training is going to make them the salesman that they were before. Well, they're already the salesman that they were before. They just conformed to the rest of the sales staff so they could fit in. So what happens if he sends just that one person to sales training? Okay, he'll come back motivated for a few days and be like the rest of the office. He just sends the whole office to sales training or motivational training. Again, within a few weeks, they're going to go right back to where they were, because unless something is maintained, you go right back to your previous behavior. So they're actually wasting a lot of money by sending one person or their top people to sales training if they're going to take them back and put them in the bullpen with everybody else, okay? Because you've probably been in sales situations where everybody in the office sells about the same, and you have one real go-getter that's selling 5 times, 10 times more than everybody, and everybody looks at them. And a lot of times they feel like they don't belong. Years ago, I was with an insurance company, and in this insurance company, we had this one guy, okay, to me he was like the white whale, nobody ever seen him, okay? But he always produced like 10 times more than anybody else. At the end of the day, he'd have all these stacks of contracts on his desk. We never saw him because he was keeping himself separate so he wouldn't hurt his sales abilities. He didn't want to become part of the rest of the group. Very smart. We didn't know why. We just thought he was antisocial. You see what I mean? Pointing the fingers. He's not like us. He was very successful and he wanted to stay that way, okay? Now, people that are separated, a lot of office places will give them a nice office, at the top floor, because he's separated from the rest of the bullpen and he'll probably be able to keep his motivation going. But if you bring him back to where everyone's around him, they're going to settle right down to where they are, okay? So the additional sales training, the additional motivational training isn't what they need. They need as a group to be brought up or separate your best people. Because remember, they were an excellent salesperson when you first hired them. They have the knowledge, they just need to keep their motivation going. They need to fit in, okay? So fitting in is so very important. Now, rhetorical question. Everyone's else doing it. Call now. Join the crowd. That's not really a question, but that's a statement, Would you like to be like everyone else? Would you like to fit in and have everyone love you? So these are things that are very important. In most jobs, everybody's working the same way. They're working to want to be accepted. If the whole crew is slacking off and half the people are on the internet just chatting all day long when they work, you're going to find everybody else tends to do that as well. And Raluca just passed me something, by the way, for the contest. It's, if anybody can read this, Norm Hyman. Norm Hyman, you won the contest. And what was the contest for? I never told you folks, okay? And it is for this clinical hypnosis manual. It's a $25 value. It's not the download. This is the actual manual. And you can get that online at choosehypnosis.com, our online store. So Norm, you're getting a brand new copy of this clinical hypnosis manual, $25 value. And guess what? To make it even more valuable, matter of fact, to make it priceless, I'm going to sign it. Okay, so it's going to be a signed copy of the Clinical Hypnosis Manual, and we'll send that out to you. Matter of fact, if you're still listening, Norm, if you could send Raluca or that same email you just did, your mailing address where you'd like to see this. And if you want me to use Norm or not inside the book, go ahead and do that. We'll send that right out to you. And so we'll put that right over here. Congratulations. And let's see. That's pretty much all I had tonight. I'd like to thank you all for coming, and be sure to be here next week. I'm sure we're going to have some other kind of contests, so you want to make sure you show up, because the contests we have, you have to be live to be able to win. Thanks a lot. Have a great night.